Good afternoon, parents. So glad you chose to join us tonight to learn a little bit more about multimedia and web design. I am Ms. Lewis, your child's teacher, and I would like to share with you some information about the course that they're enrolled in. This is the first level computer class, basically took the place of computer applications now in high school, and we're going to cover 4 different objectives in the course this year. Starting with objective 1, which we've already begun. We're using Microsoft Publisher for this particular objective. It is learning about graphic design. So in objective 101, the students learn the correct choice for typography and the different ways that they might use the principles and elements when creating those documents. In objective 102, we actually delve into creating some Microsoft Publisher files, and they're actually able to print out some of these to see what they would look like in color, and hopefully they've applied the things that they've learned in Objective 101. We go on to Objectives 201 and 202, which has to do with raster images in 201 using Adobe Photoshop, and they again will learn some basic features of using Photoshop and then be able to create a project with that. Objective 202, they learn about vector graphics. Using Adobe Illustrator. We are using Adobe products from Objective 2 on, and so these are industry level software. Well, it is industry level software that once the students gain a knowledge about how to use this, they will be pretty well trained. Objective 3, 301 and 302 has to do with time-based media. 301 is using Movie Maker. They'll make a short movie and also use Audacity, which is an audio editing software program, to do things like maybe create a commercial or do some other audio type files. 302 is learning Adobe Flash, and with Flash, this is probably the hardest of the programs that the students have to grasp. But once they get the hang of it, they are able to create simple animations, and they get really excited about it. And so once they learn it, they really love that section. Then our last section is Objective 401, 402, which has to do with designing web pages. And they start out with 401 using HTML5 and CSS. This is a basic code, learning code for anyone wanting to design web pages. So the students, get a basics with that. And then we go on to learn about responsive web design, which is taking those web pages that you've created and making sure that they're able to be viewed on like your phones and mobile devices. And that's one of the concepts that they just added like last summer to the course as an upgrade. Also, each student in the class is asked to keep a class notebook. We give out and use many different graphic organizers that they can put in their notebooks and study, because they are responsible for a test, a major test in the class, a midterm and a final. And that notebook should be brought to class each day. This year we're using Google Classroom as part of the learning management system. I've used Gaggle before and some other multimedia teachers, and we're trying to transition over to Google Classroom. Working pretty well now. We have some issues with file formats, and Google wants to change the format like we upload it, but for right now we've learned to use it for disseminating class daily plans and having the students upload certain files to Google Classroom. So you can always check there, and they can log in and see what actually is due for the classwork for the most part. If a student is absent, they have 5 days to actually come back and make up the work, or make arrangements to make up the work. I'm pretty lenient on that. If the student cannot stay a particular day, we might work out another day. But I know that the software may not be available at their home, so they need to stay after school to do the work. So we usually are able to work it out with no problem. Grading percentages are like everybody else: 70% formal, 30% informal. Formal grades will include major tests or big tests, but also project grades that they will complete after each unit. Informal grades would be like those daily assignments that students normally get when they're learning software, learning some content. And again, those grades are entered into PowerSchool, and that's how they're calculated. Contact information for me, probably the best way to get in touch with me is by email. You may call the school, but I don't have a black phone in the room, so it's probably easier through email. You may go to my wiki page to actually find some of the documents you might want, of course, syllabus, classroom procedures, and of course, if you need to set up an appointment or whatever, you can contact the school's counselor or the child's counselor if it's that dire. But thank you for coming today, and again, I look forward to working with you and your child.